Okay, so maybe you're thinking about joining the military, or you're actually in the recruiting process right now and you're just wondering what is the best branch to join, and you just wish that someone would actually give you a non-biased opinion. And I'm here to tell you today that I can do that, okay? I've been in the Coast Guard for 4 years, and before you block me out and say that I don't know anything about the military, the guy editing this video is in the Marine Corps. My dad was in the Navy, my wife's dad was in the Army for 30 years, and my cousins were in the Air Force, and I have friends in the Air Force. And I actually worked with a guy that was prior Air Force. So once you get in the military, you kind of see it. You rub elbows with everybody in every single branch. I was actually stationed on a Marine Corps base for 3 months. I got to work around them a lot. And so you realize you get to know the different branches a lot. So hopefully I can save you today in case you're about to join the wrong branch. And the way that we're going to be determining what the best branch to join is we're going to be going based off 2 things: quality of life and job opportunities. So I'm going to go through every branch, tell you what I think about it off of both those 2 things, and then at the end of the video I'll kind of tell you what branch I think is the best branch to join right now. So the first one we'll go ahead and kick it off with is the Coast Guard, since I'm in it, so you know I'll be special about it. The biggest thing you're notice about the Coast Guard versus the DoD branches is I definitely feel like the Coast Guard is the least military branch out of all of them. Unless you're on a cutter, it's pretty chill, okay? It's kind of like, I mean, you work in Homeland Security. And whenever I talk to my buddy about my job life or my work life, whatever it is, versus his in the Marine Corps, very different. Okay, so that can definitely be a big benefit if you want something that's a little bit more chill. So I would say quality of life is definitely pretty good based off all of the branches. As soon as I got out of boot camp, I got something called BAH, that's basic allowance for housing. So I was essentially able to go live out in the economy, you know, where regular people live, versus going and living in the barracks, versus some of your other branches where that's pretty much what you're gonna go do. You're gonna go live in the barracks. That's a pretty rare thing in those branches, but in the Coast Guard, it's not as rare to get BAH right off the rip. I also worked from 7:30 to 3:30. That's pretty much been my work schedule since I've been in. We don't have PT tests unless you're boat crew, stuff like that, operational, which once again is vastly different from the regular military. Usually you gotta wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning to go PT. Cody, put the time up here. They used to have to wake up in Hawaii. So I would say quality of life, definitely pretty high, I would say, honestly. And then job opportunities. So the interesting thing about the Coast Guard is that I think the stat is like one of our jobs equals 5 or 6 jobs in the Navy. You know, like in the Navy, they have a job where literally you just refuel stuff all day. So I would definitely say that there is some job opportunities where you can learn a lot of things, but it's definitely not like the big branches where, you know, the big branches have freaking heart doctors and stuff like that. Obviously that's for officers, but they have some pretty crazy jobs in the big branches. Once again, Cody, it puts them up here. I can't even think of them right now, but I know the Army has a lot because it's like a city. You know, like they have people that literally just run stores on Army bases. You're not gonna see something like that in the Coast Guard. So overall, I would definitely say pretty solid branch to join if you want to be in the military and you want to have a good quality of life. And then if you want a specific job that the Coast Guard is offering, it could definitely be potentially very beneficial for you. Next up is the Army, and your quality of life, it all depends, okay? For most people that go into the Army though, you're definitely going to be living in barracks, and a lot of the barracks I've seen in the Army are not so great. Obviously that doesn't speak for all barracks in the Army, but some of the stuff that I've seen, like the ceilings are falling in and stuff, that's just videos I've seen. So quality of life is definitely gonna be a little bit lower. Depending on the job you join, you're gonna be sleeping in the woods a lot, stuff like that. But you could get lucky and get BAH. It's just a lot less rare than it is in the Coast Guard. But something really cool about them is that they have way more job opportunities, as I just said whenever I was talking about the Coast Guard, okay? Because you gotta think about Army bases are like cities. And so I would say the Army is really good for someone who doesn't necessarily know what they want to do, but they want to have a lot of different options. And then, you know, one of those things about living in the barracks is living in the barracks is not bad, okay? You save a lot of money living in the barracks. Everybody thinks if you get BAH, you just have all this money to pocket. They've actually done studies, and people that receive BAH tend to actually pay out of pocket. It's only supposed to cover like 80% of your living expenses or something like that. I'm not sure, don't quote me on it. But yeah, most people who use BAH actually end up losing money in the long run. I actually live in government housing right now, and I have saved an insane amount of money by living here because you don't pay any bills and everything is taken care of, super stress-free. So whenever you hear barracks, don't immediately just run away, obviously, unless you get some really bad ones like I might have just talked about a second ago. But yeah, don't run away from that. And then the job opportunities, as I was saying, they have some insane job opportunities. The Army definitely probably has the most, if not the Navy. It's either Army or the Navy that's got the most job opportunities. So I know I'm kind of skimming over this one pretty quick, but I'm just trying to give you guys the overall, Eagles view perspective here. So once again, I would say the Army is good for someone who's 18 years old, doesn't necessarily know what they want to do forever, but they want a lot of opportunities. Also, their recruitment process is pretty quick too because they have so many different boot camp locations. You go talk to a recruiter right now, they'll probably get you shipped out 3 weeks from now. Next is the Marine Corps, and that's the one that the guy editing this video is, aka my editor. If he has anything to add in this, I'll let him add it. I will say I used to talk a lot of crap about the Marine Corps, okay? I used to make fun of them, stuff like that. I take it all back. I truly believe every successful person I've met that has been in the military, and this isn't 100% definitive, but most of the successful people that I've met that have been in the military were actually Marines. And the reason I think this is because they integrate it in their brains from the day they go to boot camp that they are the best and that they just need to go attack everything. And I gotta be honest, I think that is a great thing to teach an 18-year-old because I think a lot of people in the world now are lazy. So I think it's cool to fire people up like that. And I think that it's cool how proud they are to be Marines. Think about it. Most Marines don't actually do anything. Most Marines in right now have never seen combat. But you would never know that whenever you meet one of them because they act like they're all just absolute killers. And like I said, I think that's cool though that they carry themselves like that. For quality of life though, once again, luck of the draw, a majority of the time you're gonna get put in those barracks. I've actually been seeing though, they've been redoing their barracks. So hopefully they're gonna start updating and they'll be getting a lot better. They've been putting faceless checkout stores inside the barracks, whatever. I don't know what that's called, like scan and go. There's no cashier there. You just swipe your thing, pay, walk out. You don't have to talk to anyone, and that's inside the barracks. So that's kind of cool. And then I would say the thing that sucks about them, and I didn't mention that about the Army, is that they definitely do have mandatory PT. Cody, put the time up here again, what time you used to have to wake up for PT. And that doesn't matter if you're an admin guy, if you're in the infantry, does not matter. So, and I know their work days are not as chill as the Coast Guard's. They're no 7:30 to 3:30, okay? From what Cody told me, they're like 8 in the morning to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, it's crazy. It's like worse than a 9 to 5. So quality of life, it is what you make it. Definitely probably the least chill out of all of the branches. And then job opportunities, I would say they have a lot, way more in the Coast Guard, not as much as the Army. But I would say like a good prospective candidate for the Marine Corps would just be someone that's 18 years old, that's insanely patriotic, and wants to call themselves a Marine. If you want to go in the Marine Corps, okay? There's no kid out here that's undetermined right now that's like, Air Force or Marine Corps? No, if you want to go in the Marine Corps. So I feel like I don't even need to give advice on what kind of person you need to be to go in the Marine Corps. You're 18 years old and you're freaking patriotic, okay? Those are the guys that should go in the Marine Corps, or girls. Next up is the Air Force. And I would definitely say, you probably know if you're watching this video, everyone thinks that Air Force has the best quality of life out there. And it just all depends on who you ask. My friend that's in the Coast Guard that I serve with that was actually in the Air Force, he actually does say that he thinks the Air Force has a better quality of life. I personally think that the Coast Guard might, but I think it's just, luck of the draw. Let's just call them both even though. You're gonna get very good quality of life. You're definitely probably gonna be living in barracks, but remember what I said about the Army where I said I've seen videos of their roofs falling in? You don't have to worry about that in the Air Force, okay? They got nice barracks, they take care of their people. Actually, I heard this story one time about the Air Force, and I don't know if this is a myth, but I heard that the way that the Air Force builds bases is that they actually go in, they build the barracks and all of the facilities like that first, and then they run out of money, and then the government has to give them more money because they go, hey, we still gotta build the roads, the landing strips, the hangars, stuff like that. So they build all the non-essential things first for the mission. That's how they get such nice stuff. I don't know if that's true. That's just what I heard. So I would definitely say quality of life is good. You're probably still gonna have that mandatory PT in the morning though. That's just a DOD thing. You'll graduate from it one day maybe, or you just get put in a chill unit where you don't have that. And then their work days are pretty solid. Definitely a little bit longer than those Coast Guard work days, but definitely not as long as those Marine Corps work days. And they have a ton of different jobs, okay? Just like the Army, they have a ton of jobs. All right, so for a prospective candidate for the Air Force, I would definitely say, you know, a kid that, I keep saying a kid could be 18 to 80 years old, okay? Somebody's gonna clown me for saying that, but I would definitely say someone that wants to join the military, do a job, you know, just like something in the Army, they wanna do something vast that the Air Force has to offer. They have freaking meteorologists, okay? And they just want a good quality of life. You know, I definitely think the Air Force is one of the best branches to join out there if you don't want to go sleep in dirt holes and you want to have nice barracks and stuff like that. So yeah, once again, I feel like people who are gonna join the Air Force kind of already know that you're an Air Force person. If I were to walk in your bedroom right now and go, hey, that's a clean bedroom, you should join the Air Force. If I were to walk in your room and say that's a dirty room, join the Marine Corps or the Army, all right? And last up, we have the Navy. I think one of the most underrated branches, okay? Because everyone's always talking trash. Oh, I could never do it. They're on ships. Let me tell you, there's guys in the Coast Guard that are on 200-foot boats that go underway for 4 months. All right, I would much rather be on an aircraft carrier that goes underway for 6 months to a year. Because those boats, once again, as you all potentially have heard before, are like floating cities. They have stores, barbershops, churches. They have everything on there, okay? It's like it seriously is like going on a cruise, except you work all the time and there's no entertainment. And that's only if you get put on a boat though, okay? I know a ton of people that were actually in the Navy that never even got stationed on a boat, but I'll tell you from the perspective of getting put on a boat, because that's what my dad was. He was on a boat, got to see the world, got to go to all these cool port calls. You know, I think it's a really cool opportunity if you want to go travel the world. I would definitely say that I think it's the best branch. It seriously, just simply put, if you want to go travel the world, if you want to see things. For quality of life, if you're on a boat, you're gonna be working a lot, okay? I'm not gonna lie. People on boats, they're very hard workers. So just be prepared for that. But, you know, saying that you work hard or long hours, once again, kind of like the barracks comment, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, I personally enjoy working hard. I've had jobs in the past where I just kind of sit around all day and feel useless. I would much rather be working hard. And then for jobs, they have an insane amount of jobs, just like the Army. So you're definitely gonna be okay trying to find a job. Just before you join any of these branches, you just need to make sure that if you have to select a job whenever you go in, make sure that you select the right job, okay? Because if you join the wrong job, that could be the make or break of your military career, and that could pretty much be if you get out and you say that I had a great time in the military, or if you get out and you say, screw the military, I had a terrible time being in because of the job that I picked. But if you want to see more videos like this about different branches, or you want me to go more in detail about a single branch, make sure to comment, and if that comment gets enough likes, then I'll make another video about it. But make sure to subscribe because new videos are coming out constantly.